All right, Jeff Zimmerman here. I'm with Iceman John Scully, the trainer of one of the pound for pound stars in all of boxing, Artur Beterbiev. He's got a huge rematch coming up February 22nd as part of Riyadh season against Dmitry Bivol. How you doing, John?
Everything's great. Let me just clarify. Like Mark Ramsey's the head trainer.
Yeah,
I'm the assistant trainer.
there you go. Yes, yes. I actually have one of the trainers, but yeah, Mark Ramsey is the head trainer.
Right.
And I should say former world title contender
Yes.
as well, John Scully.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how's it going, John?
Good. Everything's really good. I just got back from the gym about an hour ago, so just in for the night, and everything's going great.
Listen, man, boxing is on fire right now.
Yeah.
And I would say the light heavyweight division is on fire. Hasn't been like this in a long time. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to have these guys fight and then fight again a few months later is special. I don't know if people realize how special this actually is. You know what I mean? Like when the rematch got called, Mark called me and said, "All right, well, it looks like we're going to be going in February." And I thought he meant against somebody else, like a smaller fight. And for like 2 weeks, he assumed I knew. And then I read it on the internet, and I go, "Hey, you didn't tell me it was Bivol. I just thought it was a regular fight." He goes, "No, no, we're doing a rematch," which is, I was shocked. I didn't, back in the old days, rematches happened right away. You fought him in a return match. Nowadays, it's like pulling teeth. So you got to give both of these guys credit for taking this tough of a fight, this big of a fight right away.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get one fight, let alone
Yeah,
two.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and when I look back, I was like, wow, it was just October they fought the first fight. I
That's
mean,
insane. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
That's insane. And before we get into the fight, that your big fight, I wanted to talk about this last weekend because you had two guys in David Morrell and David Benavidez who have now, are trying to lay their stake in light heavyweight, and they
Right.
put on a hell of a fight. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I didn't get to see the whole thing, just the clips. Yeah.
Okay. And for David Benavidez, who's been chasing Canelo for the last few years, to then take on a left-handed Cuban fighter with some pop,
Yeah.
you don't see that every day. What were your thoughts just for them to even fight?
Well, that's the thing. When I heard they were fighting each other, I was extremely surprised. I didn't think, especially like Morrell would, he had 10 fights or whatever he had, to take that big of a jump. And I guess back in the old days, you had guys like Marlon Starling and Donald Curry. They fought each other in non world title fights. Um, but now we don't see that very often. But to see two young guys like this, and they, it was for a interim WBA title, but
Right,
no disrespect for them, but they're not the light heavyweight champion. David is
right.
not the light heavyweight champion. I don't count that at all. But to fight a guy like Morrell when he didn't have to is a huge. I give him all the credit in the world for that.
Yeah, a lot of people were calling it a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was 50-50.
And
Yeah.
I remember talking to Roy Jones about it, and he said even though, to your point, Morel only had like 10 to 12 fights, his amateur experience alone would make him like 25-0 in the US. So
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, for
it,
sure.
it's a different world. But yeah, it was a hell of a fight. And the way, David just came on and,
Yeah.
took the fight to Morel, who was standing right there with them. You'll have to watch it when you get some time.
Right, right, yeah, for sure. No, the clips I had seen was typical. Like David, you know what he's about. You know how he fights, and yeah, he brings it. I mean, you got to give him credit. You're gonna get your money's worth watching him.
Yeah, so let's talk about your fight coming up, John. So as you mentioned, February, not just real, here in a couple of weeks. Um, the first fight though was a hell of a fight,
Yeah,
and it was super close. There was a lot of people that even thought Bivol won the fight.
Right.
What was your thoughts? What was your takeaway from it when you guys were in the ring waiting for that decision? Did you feel like you had the fight in the bag, or
No, no, it was close. It was super close. I wasn't sure. I thought on the like I put it this way, on the grand scheme of things, seeing how it played out, I was happy with how we finished so strongly and all that. And when I got in the ring, I could see Bivol, the whole left side of his face was really discolored. Like, and I was happy about that. But knowing how boxing is and the judging and the politics, I said, man, it's very rarely, it's crazy to say, but it's very rarely how you think it's going to be. Like when a fight is over and you go, oh, it was obviously 10 rounds to 2. Well, the judges aren't going to have it like that. It's going to be different when one way or the other. I thought that it was a really close fight, and you could see why you could give both guys credit. But I thought in terms of a professional fight and a 12-round fight and a fight for the undisputed title, I clearly see why we won it, because at the end of the fight, Bivol was moving, but it got to the point where I even said to myself, like around the 11th round, I was like, come on, man. Like, you're trying to win the undisputed title here. Like I wanted him to slow down so Artur could catch him. But I was like, man, like, you're not going to win on your bike moving constantly. And I think the judges obviously saw it that way as well.
yeah, Archer was clearly the aggressor.
Yeah.
Bivol was boxed very well early, but he definitely wanted to stay away. But to your point, it looks like the damage was through the gloves.
And well, that shows you how hard Arthur's hitting in there. And I saw they went to the press conference a few weeks ago, and none of us went, just Arthur and he went. And you could see in the pictures that the eye was discolored, like almost like it was still discolored from October, which isn't unreasonable when you get that kind of damage. So either way, it's either the same injury or he's been damaged again. But that shows a susceptibility there, which obviously we're going to exploit.
Yeah, so going into this fight, John, to your point, exploit something like that. Do you guys change a game plan going into a rematch, or I mean, he's kind of, he's 40 years old now. Is it kind of like this is who he is and this is
Yeah.
what he does?
No, I mean, without going into the details, yeah, we definitely would change our approach. And I would say adjustments. Both teams need to make adjustments. Maybe not huge adjustments, but you can't just go in the same exact way. And that's what's important, about having a trainer, having a team. Like you have to watch the tapes and you have to see what could be done and what could be done better and how to nullify certain things. And I felt right from the beginning, there's two things that I really, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on his team, but two things that I really believe are in our favor. One is the quick turnaround. I think that definitely absolutely favors us. And Arthur's history shows that. But the other thing is, and I thought this from the beginning, it would seem to me we have more that we could adjust and be successful than Bivol does. Because, in the grand scheme of things, he can't fight with her. He can't say, okay, this time I'm going to go toe to toe. He can't do that. We know he can't do that. And he doesn't want to do that. I know he doesn't want to do that. But he can't box more because then it'll look like he doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to blend some of that together. And either way, to win, he's going to have to make himself a little more susceptible, which is obviously in our favor. So that's where I stand on that.
And how is Archer doing? Because, again, 40 years old, he's had injury issues in the past. And now, like you said, the quick turnaround, maybe that's to his advantage.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, we came off the last fight. He had just gotten surgery done on his knee, on a meniscus, which I hadn't even thought about till actually relatively recently. But I'm sure that was on his mind. But for this fight, he's I guess, like even with his strength coach is saying the difference is night and day between last fight and this fight. He can do so much more like he normally does. So, and I think different things that we've worked on that he was responding to, I would say I feel very happy about.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Riyadh season, February 22nd. You know, again, these fights aren't happening, but Turkey just seems to wave his magic wand and, you
Right.
know,
Oh, he's a monster, man. He's good. I mean, I agree pretty much everything I've seen him like in terms of his ideas and his proposals. I'm into it. Everything he said, if he wants to take over boxing, I'm okay with it right now. Yeah.
yeah.
You see, he just got Ring Magazine uh, back on the newsstands. I mean, that's awesome. That's
And we're
unbelievable.
going to talk about the one you had signed here in a minute
Oh yeah,
too.
you know about that. Yeah,
With
yeah,
what,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest question people have about it is it sustainable, what he's doing? Not so much the money, but if he doesn't make money,
Yeah.
is he going to just keep throwing money at it?
I mean, it's a crazy thing, but I feel like he has so much money. I don't think he cares.
Hmm.
Like, it'd be like me, playing, risking pennies, and I lost another 2 cents today. What am I gonna do? You know
Right.
what I mean? It's just I don't think he would mind. And he's obviously getting, like how many people? A lot of people probably never even heard of Riyadh before. Now they're going over there to watch fights, and they're finding out it's actually a really cool place. I really enjoyed it being over there. I liked it. It was pretty cool. So I think it's a win-win for him in that regard. And but like I say, him bringing back Ring Magazine is awesome. Him, with the level of fights he's having over there, high quality arena. The arena is awesome. The fights are awesome. The aura is awesome. I mean, it's a very positive thing.
Yeah, he's obviously a super fan,
Right.
so
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
that is obvious. So if all goes well, John, February 22nd, Benavides is for all intents and purposes, the mandatory to the winner. So, I mean, that fight seems like that Benavides and Artur would be fireworks.
Yeah. 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 Well, it would be almost guaranteed because unless he switched, which I don't think he would, Benavides, his whole MO is come forward, come forward. I'm coming forward. And the thing about Arthur is I think a lot of people subconsciously, and even me in the beginning, I'm thinking of Arthur as this come forward, Mr. T, Clubber Lang destroyer, right? But if you watch him, he's not. He's very technical. He's taking his time. He's almost a little too technical sometimes.
Mm.
You wish he would just let it go. But when he does, he's destructive. I think obviously Arthur is a better technician than Benavides, but Benavides coming, forcing Arthur to fight. I think Arthur would enjoy that. I think he would welcome somebody kind of like when with Joe Smith on that mentality level. I think Arthur would welcome that, and especially if he was catching Arthur, I think Arthur would respond favorably. Anytime he's been hit, he's woken up. He's got the job done. Like, oh, it's almost like hitting Arthur is a mistake. You know what I mean? Because you're waking up the bear.
Mm.
And the 2 times that he went down in his career, he knocked the guys out like immediately after. So I don't want to look too far ahead, obviously, but it's obvious that fight would be fireworks for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And let's that would be one hell of a fight. Let me switch gears with you. The fact that and you're a historian of boxing. I know that long history. You do so much for the boxing community. And I love your little post like, if you don't know who this is, then you don't know boxing, or who is this in this,
Yeah,
picture
yeah. So
from
you
19,
should the fact that you don't know who this is,
right.
because I already know you're not going to know. I
Right.
say the fact that this guy is not known is wrong. Is wrong, wrong, wrong. You should know these guys. Yeah.
Right. Canelo seemingly ducking Benavides. I mean, that's kind of what the word on the street is, right?
I think I was surprised because whenever people say that, oh, he's afraid, he's ducking. I was you don't understand, the mentality of the business. But then I was reading the quotes and seeing what Canelo, excuse me, I was seeing what Canelo was saying about Benavides, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm crazy or what, but he sounds kind of, I don't know if scared is the word, but he sounds kind of realistic. He's kind of like saying, hey, the guy's too big, the guy's too strong, he throws too many punches, without actually directly saying it.
Yeah. I think it definitely became personal. I did ask David's dad, Jose Benavides, before the fight about Canelo, and of course, they don't want to keep talking about him, and he's given up on him. But then I said, with Turkey in the mix, maybe things change, and so,
Right.
but yeah, it's kind of crazy. But David going to 175, maybe that puts an end to it. Who knows, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, I think now the tide is obviously going to shift towards the winner of our fight.
Right, right. What do you think of Crawford? One of the best, if not the best of this era. Him and Canelo can probably, make that claim. But what do you think of someone like Crawford going up all these weight classes, had one fight at 154, which wasn't a walk in the park by any means,
Right.
and taking on Canelo, who still Canelo.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, I actually thought it was like, they're just saying it. They're just saying it to draw attention, but they don't really mean it. But now seems like they mean it. It's weird because back in my era, in the era that I grew up in, becoming familiar with boxing, like moving up in weight was a big deal. When you moved up, when Arguello moved up to fight Pryor, that was major. It was a major thing. Duran going up, and now these guys, they just move up like it's nothing. Like, I don't know, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of weird that people are just moving up and down in weight, and they're just as strong or stronger and faster than they were before. Like, I remember when Duran moved up to fight Leonard, the big thing was, he's a beast, but is he going to be strong enough to fight Leonard? What is it? And then when he moved up to fight Barkley, it's like, oh man, he shouldn't do it. Now the guys are moving up and down, they're fighting everybody, and Lomachenko moved up a million weight classes, and all these guys do it. Maybe the supplements, are a
Hmm.
little better today. I don't know, but it's definitely not what I'm used to.
Do you think Crawford could beat Canelo?
You know, I, unless they see something that I don't think so. Like, and I love Crawford. I probably like Crawford better than I like Canelo as a fighter, but they always say they have weight classes for a reason.
Right.
And if they don't do a weight clause, if they don't do a thing where, like Canelo did to Kovalev, like if they don't tell Canelo, okay, well, you can weigh that, but you can't gain 10 pounds. You can't, if it's just on the up and up, it would seem to me to be a super middleweight against a welterweight.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is it? You know,
And what I've been hearing is that there is no weight class, like there is no,
I mean,
next.
you have to, you have to, you have to say hats off to Crawford, like
Yeah.
doing that. How many guys would actually do that? You know what I mean? I wouldn't, when I was light heavy, I wouldn't go up to cruiserweight, not for any money, because the guy's just too big. Like, I want to have a chance to win. I want to, I don't want to get crushed by some guy who everybody in their right mind would have told me he's too big for me. But, and Canelo is obviously stronger than Crawford. Like, he's a stronger man, and he's overpowered light heavies,
Yeah.
and certainly super middleweights. I guess we're gonna see if skills pay the bills. If those skills, it would be amazing if Crawford could win, because it would obviously be with his skills. It wouldn't
Right.
be him smashing Canelo and overwhelming him. Uh, you know, he would prove that if you have the skills, you can get it done against a bigger man.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned you when you're a light heavyweight, not fighting cruiserweight. So, I have a long association with Richard Still. I mentioned wearing the hoodie here. He was a light heavyweight back in the day,
Yeah.
and he used to spar with Ken Norton.
Huh.
And I was at a golf tournament with them, and they were jabbing each other, verbally. And, Ken's like, there's my little dick over there, and just a bunch of laughs. And Richards, said, man, I used to run circles around you in the ring. And Ken said, yeah, but when I caught you, I knocked your ass out.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Well, it's funny. Like a lot of fighters make a mistake. Like they'll spar with a bigger guy, and they'll just in the gym, and they'll utilize movement, and they'll box, and they'll stay off the ropes, and then after I outboxed them. They'll brag about it. Like I go, listen, it's the gym. You did it in the gym. I guarantee you, this guy was not trying to hurt you like really trying to hurt you. It wasn't urgent for him. Like me, I've sparred with 100 guys, 200 guys who were smaller than me, right? And I'm working, and I'm not trying to hurt them at all. And they did good. They're hitting me, and they're fast and everything. So technically, they could tell people, yeah, I landed more punches than him. I felt good about it. Yeah, but if I was trying, it would have been a different world. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Now, granted, with Canelo and Crawford, Crawford's a high level. This guy's Superman. At his weight. So I would say I wouldn't bet on him to win. But if anybody at that weight could do it, I would pray he'd probably be the only one. You know what I mean? I don't think even Errol Spence, when Errol was at his best, wouldn't do it because everything he is, Canelo's dad and much more. You know what I mean? But you get Crawford, if you can't hit Crawford flush and he's using his angles and all that kind of thing, it wouldn't matter how big Canelo was in those instances.
It's funny you mentioned Spence, and I'm in Dallas, so I was around his camp a lot, through the years with Derek and so forth.
Right.
And that was the talk for a long time, was Spence facing Canelo.
Right.
Um, and I remember after the fight talking to Red, Coach Red on Canelo, or I'm sorry, on Crawford's team, and saying they took that as disrespect. That here you're talking about fighting Canelo when we haven't faced off yet. And
Right.
so I asked him about Crawford fighting Canelo, and he's like, no, he wouldn't advise it. And here we are 2 years later. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
money changes minds. you
yeah,
know.
yeah, no doubt. But I'll get you out of here, John, in a minute here with the Iceman, John Scully. Got his big fighter, pound for pound, top fighter in the world, undisputed light heavyweight, Artur Beterbiev, February 22nd against Dmitry Bivol, and what could be another fight of the year. I gotta, I know last time we spoke, I gotta talk about all the great stuff you're doing for these fighters. As I mentioned, you mentioned Ring Magazine. I saw the one that you just posted with Artur and Bivol,
Yeah.
and you have the only signature, I'm sure, on a Ring Magazine with Artur Beterbiev.
Well, it's a pullout. It's the
Oh,
pullout. It's a
oh,
poster
it's a post.
that was in the magazine, in Ring Magazine. I guess that's what they're doing now. They're in every, like, how KO has the centerfold. Well, I
Right.
guess Ring Magazine is including a pullout, a post
Okay.
like a miniature poster, and it's Arthur and Bivol face to face. And so I'm when I got handed it, Arthur was 20 feet away from me at that moment. I said, "Oh man, give me a pen,"
Right.
and I had Arthur sign it. I told Arthur, I say, I could auction this off and raise good money to help some guys, and so that's what I plan to do.
Yeah. So, and you do this, you help so many fighters, that are just down and, down in their luck, John, and,
Right.
going through tough times. Talk about when you started this and just, you
Right.
know, how you've been able to continue it for such a long time.
Well, what happened, as I recall, what happened was about 9 years ago, the hurricane hit Puerto Rico, and Wilfred Benitez, the power went out at his house, and they needed a generator. And his sister put a notice up saying, "Hey, we need some help. Can anybody help?" And so I said, "Oh man, I could raise some money, whatever." And so I put it on Twitter. I believe it was Twitter, and I put it on Facebook, and I also put it on Twitter. And Max Kellerman, and I think he didn't want this out there, but he deserves it, right? Like you don't need to be humble all the time. He sent me a message. It was $10,000, right?
Wow.
He sent me a message and he said, "Hey, how much do they need?" And I said, "Oh, 10,000." He goes, "Oh, I'd like to donate." I said, "Oh, here's his sister's." I think I sent him his sister, Wilfred's sister's PayPal. 5 minutes later, she calls me. Her name's Yvonne. She calls me. She says, "Hey, John," she doesn't know. She's like, "Some guy named Max just paid for the whole thing. He just sent all the money." I said, "Oh, that's Max. He was on ESPN, but she doesn't follow boxing. She doesn't know. But he paid for the whole thing." And right then I was like, it's insane. Like there's people out there who really care, like about strangers. Like he knows who Benitez is, but I'm sure they're not friends. And I think that was the catalyst. That was what pushed me into doing this. And on that end, just 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, I was able to send Bobby Ches. I assume you heard about his issue. Now he's got cancer, and
Yeah, yeah.
me and Christy Martin sent me a glove. She said, "Oh, put this up, see if you can help Bobby." She likes Bobby. I said, "All right, let me do it. I got $2,000 for Bobby Chess, and I sent him
Wow.
2,000, and he needed it because he needs to take an Uber to his appointments and all that type of his treatments and everything. So I've been helping a lot of guys. The main ones that people know about is Wilfred Benitez, Gerald McClellan, and Pritchard Cologne. There's a bunch of others, but those are the three that are,
And
the
and like
situation is there.
and you mentioned Wilfred. I mean, amazing talent. I think
Right.
he was the youngest welterweight champion at the time.
The youngest ever champion.
Yeah, and I was a Sugar Ray guy. That was my guy. Growing up.
Right.
But did you even know him
I
personally?
had never met him at that time. No,
Yeah.
I've met him twice since then. I visited him at his house in Puerto Rico, and then when they moved to Chicago, and met him at his house in Chicago. But I never actually met him before that. No,
Right.
but honestly, people give me credit. They go, "Oh, it's unbelievable what you do. It's awesome." And honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Like I don't even deserve that much credit because it's so easy. Like, I have connection with guys, right? I know Roy Jones, I know James Tony, I know different people. I have them sign stuff. I know because I'm a fan. I know what fans want. I know
Right.
you want an 8x10 picture. I know you want a magazine signed. I know you want a program signed. I know you want a poster, and I know you want a glove. I know what you want. I can get it. Now I get it. Selling it is easy. People want this stuff. And so it's kind of like getting something credit for something that's really easy. Like I'm actually disappointed, and I'm not calling people out but by name, but there's a lot of people in the game who have even more access than I do, maybe. And they could get memorabilia signed by by the same people I do, but more of them, and they're not doing it. And even some guys, like, just throwing it out there. Just a hypothetical, right? Say Tyson, De La Hoya, even Jake Paul, guys with that high income level and stuff. Imagine if these guys said, "Hey, we're gonna have a website. We're gonna sell 8x10 photos of us, and the proceeds are going to go to Gerald McClellan, Wilfred Benitez, Pritchard Cologne, and whoever else. And all you got to do is go online, pay for it, order it. I'll sign it, I'll send it to you." Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
It'd be a joke. It'd be so ridiculously easy. It would be so easy. Like right now, I'll tell you how easy it is. This is, and I'm not exaggerating at all. If a former champion called me right now and said, "Hey John, I need $500, man. I gotta pay this bill, or they're gonna shut my heat off." I would put a glove up on my Facebook and say, "Hey everybody," and I would tag a bunch of the regulars. I say, "Hey everybody, look, this champ is in big trouble, man. We gotta help him. Somebody gotta buy this glove, right?" I would get that $500 in one day.
Mm.
One day. Fans are helping me more than the actual stars of the game are. You know
Right.
what I mean? Now, it's not their duty. It's not their problem. You know, they don't have to do it. But man, I would think they'd want to. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I'll tell you this much. This is it in a nutshell. If I was a millionaire, if I was a multimillionaire, if I was Jake Paul, if I was Floyd Mayweather, Wilfred Benitez, Pritchard Colon, and Gerald McClellan would never have to worry about anything for the rest of their life. I would pay their mortgages off immediately. I would make sure they had food coming in every month. I would make sure that any medication was paid for. Like it would be nothing to me. It would be nothing. I would
Right.
do it in a heartbeat. I don't know why some of the big names have not gotten together and done the same thing. I don't understand it. I don't, and because let's be real, like it could have been them. It
Yeah.
easily could have been them that need
True.
this money. And maybe someday it will be them. I might be raising money for one of these guys. But if they if they know how easy it is and they're not doing it, even knowing that, I find it hard to believe.
Well, man, I mean, every time I talk to you, I'm going to bring it up, and I hope, this will raise awareness. Hopefully someone like that will see it, and uh, it'll raise awareness and do
Yeah.
it. I know I got one of the Gerald McClellan. I mean, I remember him growing up, and what a beast he was. I got
Yeah.
one of your posters off of one of those.
Oh, did you get the drawing?
Yes, the
Okay,
drawing.
well, let me tell you what I just did. I just occurred to me 2 days ago. I have three drawings left. I called Lisa 2 days ago and I say, "Hey, crazy question, but can Gerald sign his name? Because Wilfred can't, right?"
Yeah.
And I just assumed Gerald couldn't. And she's like, "No, he can." I said, "Really?" I said, "Listen, I have three. Let me mail these to you." I just mailed them today, like 4 hours ago. I said, "Let me mail you these things. Do a video of him signing them."
Mm,
I said, "I'll get you money. I'll get you some money to help you out for sure." And so I mailed them today. So I'm going to have her. What I'll probably do is put them up as an auction, and I will have her like say a guy named Bob wins it. I will have her say, "All right, Bob, this is Gerald signing the poster to you, and I'm going to mail it to you tomorrow."
right.
So, I think fans would love that.
Yeah.
A Gerald McClellan autograph obviously has to be rare because he was only in the spotlight for he was only a champion for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I think he beat Jackson in '94, and then he got hurt in '95 or '96. '95. It was '95. So, yeah. So I think that's going to be very helpful for sure.
Yeah. I didn't even think of if it was signed or not. I mean, I know I have it, but
Yeah, there wasn't signed because
yeah.
it was just a bunch of that I got directly from the artist.
Mm,
Uh, and it didn't occur to me till 2 days ago. I said, "Man, I wonder if Gerald could sign his name. Like that'd be amazing." And sure enough, she said he can.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll get mine signed from
Right, right,
you.
right.
Not to dwell on it, but like Donald Curry out here
Yeah.
has been, he's dealing with some stuff, and I know his son put something out there recently, and I saw Mauricio Solomon, WBC president, saying that they offered to help, but I guess Donald, maybe pride, I don't know, said he didn't
Yeah,
want the
I
help.
had heard. Well, I helped Donald a little bit months ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I had heard that he. But look, you know what? Pride. There's a time and place for pride. But
Yeah.
if you need it, you need it. You know what I mean? Like it's not even a secret anymore. You know what I mean? Like people know. There's been articles in magazines and newspapers about his situation. And the people that are taking care of him, they need help. You know what I mean? Like Lisa, she still got to pay the light bill. She still got to pay for food, but she can't work. She can't leave him alone. And it would cost, I guess the insurance had, I don't know the details, but I guess the insurance had run out, and I wouldn't, if you're able-bodied, this is a whole other topic, but I certainly wouldn't put a family member in a convalescent home.
Yeah.
From what I know about convalescent homes and dealing with my father, who was in one for a little bit, I might end up going to prison one day for stuff they do in the convalescent home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. And, I've gotten to see him over the years here in Dallas at some shows and stuff, and such a nice guy and very approachable and everything, but it's just a sad situation.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but listen, John, I mean, yeah, so if anyone can donate out there, I know you're putting it out on social media, Facebook all the time. And this will be on, Fight Hype, Fight News, some of the biggest platforms out there in the world. But listen, man, what should we expect? Saturday, February 22nd, rematch. This is going to go down. This is a fight that goes down in history. These guys for undisputed, 4 months apart, like you said. What should we expect?
I mean, I think you're going to expect more action. More like it's not going to it might not be such a technical fight this time. Like, because somebody has to be definitive, and Artur recognizes that. And now he's more than willing to be more definitive. I don't know if Bivol wants to do that. I think Bivol wants to win. He's coming to win, and he's gonna do it. But when it comes down to it, I don't know if he wants to do what Artur would have to do, would do to win. We'll see.
Can't wait, man. Got it on the calendar. Boxing's in a good place, and good luck February 22nd.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk again soon, John.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.